Back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Experience. So I go into the farmers market right here, and of course you got the employees targeting me, right? So the Hispanic behind the counter, female, you know, she's doing like these hand signals, right? So I gave her my card. She started using her pinky finger to you know, input whatever she inputted in on the machine. Then tells you that my card was declined. And I was like, oh really? I was like, oh really? Right? See, these are the sort of things that they do. These are the sort of subliminal messages that they engage in, right? So when I talk about how they will stick out their pinky finger at me in the yeah, fuck you too. Look at him over there, do that. Yeah, fuck you too. Give the middle finger. Bunch of cowards. Look. Ambulance going on there. Bunch of cowards. So they try to, they'll try to get, you know, he put his middle finger up like he's talking to somebody that's across the street, not over here though. But he know who it is, and I know exactly. That's why I raised my hands up and give the middle finger to him to do it again. Right? Just did it again. Fucking cowards. You hear the sirens again? Yeah. They're a bunch of cowards. Right? So anyhow. So again, how they coordinate things. How they engage in their targeting and try to mask it. Right? But I am too good in terms of exposing what it is that they do. Like I said, I've studied them for the past decade and a half. It took me a decade to begin to realize that what it is that they're doing and how they're doing it. And once I figured it out, they started to do things and try to use people to engage in lies. Right? Why? Because once I started speaking out, once I started doing my videos, you know, and I never really wasn't used to do my video, I used to do my blog talk. And then what did they do? Because the TI community was getting a nationwide recognition, though they tried to sabotage that effort, you know, they actually talk shoe. So in 2013, 2014, right, they bought TalkShoe and they got rid of all of our recordings. So that, why? So that people who are going to be looking into this in the future will say, oh, this is, you know, these people have been talking about this since you know, 2014, 2015, but that's not the truth. We've been talking about this from the early 2000s, right? When TalkShoe first started. Okay, but I want you to understand the reason why they did that. It is to get rid of all the evidence that TIs have been talking about silent sound spectrum, artificial intelligence, way back since in the in the early 2000s, even in the 1990s. Right? So they thought that they can get away with what it is that they're doing. But they had to figure out a way in which those of us who are going to wake up and realize what's being done and speak the truth, right? And they have to find ways to discredit us or to silence us. And this is where the manipulation comes in. This is where they use your friends, family. This is where they'll send honey traps, right? To manipulate, to drug, right? To get you in a position where they can control you, they can silence you. But, you know, it didn't work with me. They tried. They almost did, though, but it didn't work with me. Because the one thing they didn't count on was the kind of mind that I have. Not their false narrative, not their false labeling, right? Because I've labeled them correctly. I've the dog triad. I was talking about that video I posted on YouTube. You know, when I said, oh, okay, they want to label me, they want to, well, let's look at their personality traits. Let's look at what type of people will engage in such behavior, particularly those within the government, those within the police department, the police department, what's their personality like? And so the dark triad personality trait is rampant within positions of authority and power. We got to understand that. And these are the most extreme type. And why do I say these are the most extreme type? Because they have the power and authority to destroy our lives, to shape our lives however they want it to be shaped. Right? And what we know about the dark triad personality traits, those who exhibit those traits, is that they're all about destroying, control, power, manipulation. Right? This is why they make everything into a game. And dumbass Negropeans will follow along, right? Because they understand the power of religious indoctrination, the lies, the manipulation. They also know that the truth will come out. This is why they wanted to control the internet. They wanted to create paywall for every site, right? Because why? Information. They were afraid of the truth coming out, right? They were afraid of the truth coming out. I see what you did. That's the test. So even the people that you know that you talk to once in a while, even though you try to educate them, they still fall into it because you know, they're being paid in some way, right? The U.S. government has infiltrated their minds, right? So we need to understand that and see what's going on, you know. But it is our purpose to speak the truth and speak truth to light. It is our purpose to make the unconscious conscious, because it's only how we're going to, and as you pass by near a predator department using the sirens. So I want you to understand the people that they use, right? So I said, let them come, bring them. I can't wait, but because they're going to get a reckoning that is going to be fittingly deserved for who they are and their personality type. And like I said, I'm going to take everything away from them. This is why the threat of incarceration, the threat of death is a constant theme with them, because it's to make you afraid from coming forward and exposing them for who they are. They're more afraid of us than we are afraid of them. Understand that. So they have to make us more afraid of them than they are of us. Once you understand that, once you recognize that, they can threaten me all they want. I'm not afraid to die, like I said. All right? But are they afraid to die? Are they willing to die for what they believe? See, I'm willing to die for what I know. I keep saying this all the time. When you have knowledge, the threat of death is nothing. It's when you believe. When you believe, then you are afraid of death. But I thought you're supposed to love death. I thought there's a mighty heaven waiting for you when you die. Right? Listen, there's no fear here. They may attack me in ways in which might subdue my thinking in certain ways. You know, it may take me a while to do certain things because of the cognitive damage that they've done to me, right? And as well as the physical damage, or I said the neurological damage, right? But I'm not I don't care who you use. You understand me? I don't care who you use. Let them face me. But you won't do that, right? It's all about the threats. Well, you can keep your threats, because your threats don't mean nothing to me. But I'm going to give you my threat. Like I said, I'm going to take everything away from you motherfuckers. Everything. Okay? And that's not confidence. that is not confidence. Right? That is knowing that no matter how you may try to hide the truth, no matter how much you may try to engage in manipulation, no matter how much you can try to bribe people with money, it doesn't work with me, and that's not going to save you. All right? Talk to you guys in the next video.